What is up, guys? Stark here. I am back for another video, and in today's video it's going to be 25 Days of Fate, day number 4, and this is going to be the most wanted 5-star servants for me in 2022. Now, the way I do this, if you've never seen this before, is that I'll go through and I'll list one servant from each class from both the NA version of the game that's already available, and then a new servant from the list of servants that we should be getting in the new year. Now, I will say though that there are not a couple of these classes available in JP, so there's like no new 5-star assassin in JP coming out in 2022. So I went ahead and I just kind of threw in a couple extra servants that I want that are coming out. Kind of worked out pretty conveniently for me, considering that there are quite a few extra class servants that I did want. It was really difficult for me to pick one of them. But yeah, that's that. That's the introductions. So we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start off with the Saber class, as we always do. And I actually have all of the 5-star Sabers that are currently available in the game. So I went back and I looked, to see which one of the Sabers that I wanted the most that are currently available, and I went and picked Musashi. So I do already have Musashi. I have her MP level 2, but, with Lost Belt 5 coming out, and she plays a pretty big role, and, she's really cool as a Saber. I really like her as a character. I wouldn't mind getting her again as an MP3. Now, I will go ahead and say that I don't know if all of these characters are, actually coming out in this year and banners, but, you do have access to, like, those GSSRs and those banners that let you get the, the pool of any characters. So technically you can recruit any of these for the year, so, I do have a chance to get all of them at least. At least have a chance to get all of them at least one point in the year. So now moving on to the Sabers for JP. Now, this is always going to be a very limited number of options, considering we only get a certain number of servants every year, and not all of the classes have multiples. But for JP, there are 2 Sabers that we should be getting in the year of 2022. And I went with Ibuki Doji as the Saber that I wanted. She got pretty cool artwork. She, I think so anyway. She looks like just a really cool character overall. She comes out in a pretty hectic point of time in the game, so that could be a little difficult for us to get. But I think she's pretty cool. She's definitely gonna be a character that I go after. And yeah, she's not one of the more exciting servants that I want. She's definitely lower on the list. But as far as Sabers go, that is my choice. Next up, moving on to the Archers for Global. My choice for Archers is going to be the Archer of Shinjuku. So I'm not really just doing this because he's the only 5-star Archer that I don't actually have at this point in time. And while that is true, I still do want him. There's another character coming out later on in this list that I'll talk about, who pairs up with him pretty well. And as soon as he was released on JP, I was like, oh, you know what? They kind of work well together, and I would like to actually test that out, play with them on the same team, and just kind of see how that goes. So yeah, I need to get him in order to do that, and hopefully this year I'll be able to get him. Moving on over to the JP side, there is only one Archer that is going to be coming out. There's actually only one other 5-star Archer that hasn't been released yet in the game, even if you go into 2023, and that is going to be Sei. But even outside of that, she is a character that I would like to get. She's the Valentine's Day servant for us in 2022. She's very colorful, Nintendo Switchy, if you would, and she's definitely a character that I really wanted to get. She was one of the characters that I planned on pulling for as soon as I saw her come out in the game. She's not really that great of a character overall, but she is a fun character. She's really cool, and I would definitely like to get her. So moving on over to the Lancer side of things, and there is only one Lancer left in the NA version that I need, and it is also the one that I've been going after for a very long time. If you follow me at any point. You've probably heard me talk about this before. And that character that I want is going to be Brynhild. So yes, Brynhild is the final Lancer that I need to complete all 5-star Lancers on NA. And like I said before, if you guys have followed me, you know the story behind it, and the very bad luck of my GSSRs trying to get her with getting arresting goals all the time. So yeah, Brynhild, hopefully this will be the year where she comes home. If not, I do believe she has a raid up in 2023, so we'll definitely make sure that we get her at least by then, but hopefully we can get her this year and be done with it. Next up on the JP side, we are going to only, well, no, we have two 5-star Lancer options for us, but my answer is going to be Romulus, who is going to be the Grand Lancer. I hope, maybe that might have been a spoiler for some people. But yeah, Romulus is coming as a 5-star Lancer. He's my choice. The other choice would have been Vritra, but she's not a limited time servant, so you can get her pretty much whenever. If you're lucky enough, that is. Anyway, but yeah, Romulus is my choice for that. Not really high on the list of servants, again, just like Ibuki, but I definitely am going to be pulling for him very hard. Definitely want to get him. So yeah, if I don't get him, I won't be terribly upset, but we're going to try at least. Moving on over to the Rider class for NA, and this is actually the one where I always have the most trouble. It's the class where I need the most from, and I always have a really difficult time deciding on which one I'm going to go for. So I always think about going for the Rider GSSRs when they come around, but I still need Brynhild, so I always go for Lancers just to try and get that out of the way. But my choice for this year is going to be Ivan the Terrible. I was really hoping he would have been available on the Thanksgiving banner like he was last year, but he wasn't, so unfortunately that never came to pass, because I do want Ivan, and I also do have a couple other riders as well that I would very much like to get. If I could go and get one of those at some point this year, I'd be really happy, but Ivan is definitely at the top of the list for the riders. Over on the JP side of thing for riders, I guess technically right now there are potentially 3 characters, depending on whether or not we get Europa, but she's not on my list at all. I'll get her just because I need her, but other than that, we're not going to talk about her that much. As far as the one that I do want is going to be Odysseus. It's either between him and Nemo, so there's really not much of, it's like a 50-50 choice. I really wasn't too sure which one I was going to go with. But again, he's not really on the top of the list, but just for the sake of picking a rider, he does fill that spot. And then moving right along into the caster class for NA, and this one is going to be Leonardo da Vinci. Very good servant, but she just, I don't even know what happened. Like, I don't know why I never really went for da Vinci. Just maybe I wasn't too into the game during the first anniversary, even though I played. Just didn't really, I don't know why I didn't pull. Like, I don't understand it. I don't remember exactly what happened, which sucks, because I really should have had her at this point in time, because it was the anniversary. I should have been pulling for this. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what happened, but I don't have her. So at the end of the day, I do need to get her, and hopefully this year is the year that happens. And then from one anniversary caster to the next, this one is going to probably be at the top of everyone's must-have list for 2022, and that is going to be Caster Artoria. There's really not much to say here for any of you who don't know. Caster Artoria is going to completely change the meta of the game as soon as she comes out. Arts teams are going to be running wild, so Scotty's going on the bench, and we have Artoria and Arts teams running through Fate, and it's gonna be amazing. I can't wait. I've been preparing for this for quite some time. I do have her on JP, and it is amazing, and my NA account is just significantly better, so I really cannot wait to get my hands on Caster Artoria and just have a blast. Moving on over to the assassin class for NA, my choice here is going to be Shu Tendoji. She's only there because of the fact that she's the only one that I don't have, so she is there by default. I'm not really especially excited to get her. she's a pretty good character, and you know, I would like to try out like the poison teams and stuff like that. But she's really not high on the list, and you know, if I never get her, I guess I'll be disappointed because I don't have the Pokedex completed. But I really won't be too upset if that never happens. So moving on over to JP, there are no 5-star assassins coming out in JP in 2022, so couldn't really include that in the list. So what I did was I picked someone else from an extra class or just a different servant that I wanted. This one is going to be the 5-star alter ego Ashia Domin, or Limbo, as he has been announced in Lost Belt 4, which is what we're familiar with. He is who I was talking about earlier, who combos pretty well with the Archer of Shinjuku, being like a booster for evil teams. So, you know, I really wanted to just try those two guys together and just kind of have fun with it. Overall, he's a really cool character, design-wise anyway. He's kind of not the coolest character in the story, but he has a really cool design, and I didn't get him on JP, so I'm pretty excited to get him on NA and just see what I can do with him. Moving on over to Berserkers, there are actually a couple choices for Berserkers that I could have gone with here. None of them I'm especially like excited for. I don't really need too many of them. Unfortunately, Raiko is past her prime and is really not useful as much anymore, especially if you do have Arjuna. And unfortunately, I do have Arjuna, and I also have Musashi. So once Caster Artoria rolls around, Musashi is going to be pretty heavily used as a Berserker, but my choice is going to be Kintoki, if for nothing else, just for the fact that he's going to be getting a really cool costume in one of the future story releases, so I'd like to have him at least to be able to use that costume. And then over on the JP side of things, again, there is no 5-star Berserker coming out in 2022. So I did substitute that with a foreigner, and in this case it's going to be the 5-star foreigner Van Gogh. In my opinion, Van Gogh is a really fun character to use. I do have her MP3 on JP, but I really don't think that has any impact on how much I like this character, considering that her Noble Phantasm is pretty much a buff. So she's really fun overall. She hits really hard. She's a really big crit character, and she uses really cool like effects with Curse. So yeah, I love her on JP, and I think I'll just love her even more on NA with the extra characters that I'll be able to use and make different teams for. So I'm really excited for that. So moving on over to NA, we do have the extra class here, and this one is going to be a ruler. This is pretty much just because Shiro, I believe, is the only 5-star extra class servant in the game that I do not have. So by default, Shiro is there, but I would definitely like to get him and, you know, kind of complete the extra class servants. So definitely looking forward to the opportunity to do that in 2022. And finally, to wrap it up for the year, I do have another ruler, and this time it's going to be Himiko. So for Himiko, much like Van Gogh, I did pull for her on JP, and I did get her, and I believe that she's a really fun character to use. And I just don't use her too much on JP because I just don't have the characters to combo with her very well. She combos really well with Merlin, and I don't have Merlin on JP, so I would be pretty excited to see what I could do with her on NA with Merlin and a couple other Buster servants. It's really interesting the way her kit is built, and there's a lot of really cool teams you can use with Himiko, and she has a really fun kit, and I'm just really excited to pull for her and hopefully get her this time as well on my NA account. So there we have it, guys. Those are the most wanted 5-star servants for me in 2022. They're not really in any particular order. I will go through and make another video which will rank all of the new characters coming out in the game for 2022. I'm not sure if I'm going to include the 4 stars or 3 stars in that list. I guess it depends on how many of those characters there are. I'll have to take a look and go through it and overall make my rankings. But I'll definitely do the 5 stars for 2022, kind of give my thoughts and opinions a little bit more in depth with how they are as a character, and give my overall opinions on which ones you should be pulling for and which ones you should be steering clear from. Just because I pull for every character and, you know, I want to collect every character doesn't necessarily mean that all the characters are worth pulling for and are good. So there are a lot of characters that I talked about today that I probably wouldn't really suggest pulling for. The only reason why I'm going to do it is because I do have that weird goal of trying to complete the Pokédex and getting every single character in the game. But for now, guys, that is going to wrap up this video. I hope you did enjoy it. I am sorry for the late upload. Do expect a lot of late uploads this time around, just because of the fact that it's very stressful for me to make these videos, and I've been working on a very, very busy schedule. So just going to make these videos as close as, or as quickly as possible with the little time that I do have. And sometimes I feel like I might not be able to hit that goal, and I might have to do like a double upload or something just to keep it going. But for now, we're good. We haven't missed a day, and hopefully that keeps it up. So I will see you guys back here tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure which video we'll be putting out tomorrow, but definitely going to make sure that there is a video out there for you guys tomorrow. So yeah, if you like the video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know which servants you guys are looking for the most in 2022. And I do have the links below to my Twitter, Twitch, Patreon, and Discord. So feel free to check those out. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.